Fire Force Season 3, Episode 8, Holy Mother of Darkness, The Night King's Great Adventure. This looks like a two-piece episode, so let's talk about it. All right, so Fire Force Season 3, Episode 8. Things are picking up speed. We're getting going a whole lot more. So we find out from last episode that Sister Sumeyer, she is obviously behind some stuff. Something's going on, and we see is she engages in conversation with Hibana. She completely stays like a pleasant demeanor throughout the majority of the conversation. Like she is being quizzed on doppelgangers and everything else with the nether, and just asking questions like, did you know what's going on? How are you part of this? The fire, all this stuff. And she's just like, you're so smart, Hibana. You've been a bright one all this time. Don't you know that you're supposed to put things back when you're done reading them? You're reading again it, late when you shouldn't be, stuff like that. It's like she is just being real creepy. There's no other way to put it. But Hibana surmises that doppelgangers exist in the other world, and this is kind of their thing. So whenever the doppelganger and the human counterpart, whenever they have a conflict or whatever, that's when the spontaneous combustion occurs. So it's just like, okay, well, something happens that they have an issue, bam, one comes into the other and freaking causes spontaneous combustion. Sister Sumire, she's like, yeah, you're got stuff. You're a smart girl. You got stuff, but I'm really not here for having this conversation. And you see her start to power up, and feel these earthquakes start happening. Like she is literally shaking the earth. And we're like, first, like, is that her or is that something else? Like, no, something's going on, but she's radiating energy. So it's like it's going down. And she starts explaining that the Great Cataclysm was a failure. Like this happened 250 years ago before human combustion was a thing. Like the Great Cataclysm was a failure, and it didn't go how it's supposed to go because the pillars weren't like strong enough, or they just it wasn't enough of them. Like just it wasn't going on. So she's explaining that she was pretty much like she was there 250 years ago, and she's been doing this stuff with experimenting and trying to create pillars and all this stuff to make the Great Cataclysm happen. She's so disillusioned with everything else that's been going on. Like she's just like focused on making this happen how it's supposed to. That's why she's been feeding insects to the children to cause a spontaneous combustion, to try and create the pillars, to try and create the Adola links, the Adola burst, all this other stuff going on. Like she's been going in on this stuff. And it's so bad to the point where Hibana's like, yo, I'm done with this. I'm like ready to scrap. I'm sick of your stuff. And Sumire, freaking, she does not freaking hesitate. She really takes out freaking Huoyan and freaking Kareem like quickly, even destroys Kareem's weapon like with no hesitation. And she is just like, yeah, you need to calm down, chill out, relax. Hu Yan even tries to come up from behind and has to pull back very quickly just because she is radiating so much energy that they can't mess with her. They can't get a hand on her. It's the perfect mix of offense and defense right now. And Hibana is just like, all right, well, we got to do something to deal with you. It seems like all the, you know, whatever your ignition power is causing this. Like, we got to stop it. And then Sumaya decides, so you know what? Can you think all, everything with the fire? Because that's what she said about. Like, I'm gonna get revenge on you for the fire. And she's like, you think all the children died? Like, no, that's definitely not the case. What ends up happening is she ends up summoning freaking children infernals. So the children from the orphanage, like she summons them as infernals up through freaking the floor. And Hibana is like, oh my God, like, and she's recognizing voices and she's like trying to, she's like stunned, like she's flabbergasted. She does not know what to do. And she's like, you can see like she's breaking. And uh Kashiri, he ends up blasting through to save during the process, like blasting a hole in the ceiling right before Sumar is really about to get started. And basically is like, yo, we gotta go. We gotta get out of here. So Kareem, Huayan, they end up getting out of there and it's like, yo, we gotta figure this out, what to do. And Sister Sumire is still there and she ends up talking in like the void and talks to this like the lady in black. something like that. And he's like, "I use last my power to talk with you, and you've always been like this. You've never really changed." And Sumire is just like, pretty much like, yeah, and doesn't really care, so like that. And we see the lady and kind of little ghostly lady kind of fade away, and that's it. And since Sumire's still there, is like, "Hey, yo, I got stuff to do." Like she is bent on making this happen, and now it seems like all the pillars are now around because she herself is the seventh pillar. So it's like, yo, that's freaking wild. Like they really about to go in and see how these pillars are going to act, how everything's going to activate once they all get together. It's going to be by force. Is it just being in a location? So with that, do you have to do something in particular? I don't know. So I got to figure all this stuff out. On the other side of things, you got Arthur who's lamenting over losing Excalibur. Like he's upset and is trying to figure out like what to do next. And then Vulcan arrives and starts asking questions like, "Yo, what's up with the sword? Like, where's the origin of Excalibur?" And he's like, freaking, "Oh, the orichalcum, like that's what the material that was used to make Excalibur as a holy sword, all this other stuff. It was forged in Mount Volcano." And Vulcan's like, "Yo, where was this Mount Volcano located?" Because orichalcum, you can get this stuff at any home improvement store. And of course, Arthur was like, "Mount Volcano's at a home improvement store." Like, really, because his imagination runs away with him. So that was the place. So Vulcan devises a way to, hey, we got to get Arthur back on board because Arthur got to be able to fight. All right, he needs his strength. So he lays a bunch of groundwork to set up. Hey, we need to go search for the true metal to help rebuild and forge you a new sword. Of course, it got Arthur's attention. It's like good. So now it's kind of set up like a video game. So we got a party of four. So because Vulcan is there and he's gonna get everything stuff done, and they're planning on basically getting everything to have it set up to where he can kind of go on a journey to get the thing. So Lisa and you are gonna assist with this. So he's already pre-talked to vendors and gave them kind of lines of dialogue. So they're going through, and it's like a video game, you know, talk, shop, whatever, and he's just going through and letting his imagination just run wild at this point. All right, but he's Vulcan made it pretty much very simple for you just to follow the thing and go back so that we can make you a legendary sword. Well, all the puzzles kind of get figured out, even with the legendary trial and all the stuff he finds. He ends up going on the journey and he's role playing everything to get to where he has to dig up this little puzzle piece, right? So he digs it up and it's a letter and it's got this things and it's like, hey, the final step is to revisit the first step. All right, go back to where you started, and that's where the lump of ore or whatever it is there underneath the light for him to grab, and then that's just more or less a set piece so that Vulcan can work on making him a new sword. But no, because it says something about darkness and light, he surmised, freaking Arthur has surmised that he needs to go to the Nether for the next piece. That is where the stuff is needed to make his weapon, to the Nether. So that's where his journey is leading him, and nothing's going to stop him from going. And that's where the episode ends. Vulcan is flabbergasted. Lisa's like, you couldn't have made this more simpler for him. Like he does not get it. Like you have to treat Arthur like he's a freaking idiot at this point, and it's just bad. So now Arthur's on the way to the Nether. Lisa, Vulcan, and you are probably gonna have no choice but to join him to make sure he stays safe. And that's where the episode ends. So pretty good setup. The next episode should be something along the lines of forging the holy sword, forging a new version, and we'll kind of go from there. Now, if Fire Force is anything but correct, this is supposed to be done at two cores, so we're supposed to probably end around 12 episodes, and then the next part will take place, I think, in January for another 12 episodes. So make sure you're sticking right here with us. Make sure you hit that level subscribe button. So we're going to keep talking about it, leading all the way up, and all the other animes that we are currently watching while we're waiting on some more shows to drop. We just finished Star Wars Andor. We are getting ready for Marvel's Ironheart, which is on the way, as well as Fantastic Four and the new Superman movie by DC. So we're excited. Make sure you stay tuned. We'll catch you guys in the next one.